Good evening and welcome to tonight's show from DJNTV, Disc Jockey News TV. Tonight's show is brought to you by Electra Voice, DJ Event Planner, DJ Trivia, Odyssey Innovative Designs and Cases, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, and the DJNTV Insiders.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
It's time for Tuesday Night Live Chat with Brian S. Red and John Young. Ta-da! Yay! The crowd's cheering. They're okay, maybe not. No. Not so much. Oh, there we go. That sounds good. All right. Hey, welcome to tonight, Tuesday night with Brian and John. We're going to be digging in tonight to some lighting issues that DJs have way too often. Hence the title of Are You a Lighting Hitman? We'll get into that in just a little bit here tonight. We've got a lot of things we're going to be talking about, some of which will be on task. There's going to be some things that are not part of tonight's topic. So we'll get to our topic first. Then I want to give you guys just a little heads up of what we're going to probably be hitting when we're at the end tonight. First up, Brian's getting ready for a wedding this weekend, and we'll just touch base a little bit about that. We're going to find out the father of the bride, getting his thoughts as he's getting ready for this weekend's wedding. And then we had a couple of other things that have been talked about in the industry here in the last few days, and I wanted to get Brian's thoughts on a few things. And I have not prepared him for those thoughts because that's the most fun.
Well, he's preparing for nothing because I have no idea what a lighting hitman is.
Exactly. So this is always
find out.
These are always fun. So.
Like Christmas.
For those of you who started watching from the beginning tonight, you saw a little spot talking about DJNTV going to Las Vegas in February of 2020. We're going to be down as kind of co-locating a DJ educational part with the Photo Booth Expo. If you've been to Photo Booth Expo, it's huge. Thousands of people, hundreds of booths, lots of cool things, lots of cool deals. Well, we're going to bring more DJ stuff to Photo Booth Expo. So there will be photo boothers, photographers, coordinators, and then DJs and us, yeah. And we're going to be not only learning a little bit, hanging out, talking, sharing ideas, and we're going to go over to the place there and get a shake, half-price shake in the afternoon. Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, they do. They In-N-Out Burger, they have half-price shakes in the after, like from 2 to 4 or something like that.
Oh, they can be shakes.
Yeah, that's absolutely fabulous because it's like...
The trick to In-N-Out Burger, by the way, is well-done fries.
Well done, fries. I did.
That's the secret menu thing. You got your fries well done. My sister taught me that one.
Oh, see, we've learned something already tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So that will be something we will be trying February 24th, 25th, 25th, 27th, 24th through the 27th, Monday through Thursday. Our big parts are going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I put that on your calendar and plan to join us. DJNTV.com/Vegas. That will take you out to the event page. You can click to follow, like, be there, whatever, interested. That way you'll get notifications because I'll be the only one posting in there. So you won't have to worry about a lot of spam in your inbox. Okay. So tonight's topic. I wanted to talk about, Brian, because I've seen it in the last month. This is the time of the year where DJs start to say, oh, all these kind of cool videos for my weddings. They start posting these up and saying, oh, look at how great I am. Look at all my gear. Look at all my... And this is a discussion we've had before. You've done numerous videos on this. The whole concept of having your lights inappropriately set to the point of where they are going to be either offensive to the guests. They're going to be, it's to the detriment of the guests or the people on the dance floor. Your lighting becomes that thing. So instead of having something warm and welcoming and bringing them out to the dance floor, they becomes like a hitman, and you're picking people off your dance floor.
Hit by truck lighting.
There it came. Then there's the tie.
Would you like me to do a quick demonstration of that?
I would love to have. I was hoping you would have something handy to do a demonstration.
Well, I can make it happen. I wasn't sure we were going to go with this, but as you were saying this, I'm like, I can make this happen. So just fill time for like a minute, and I'll make this happen.
That sounds absolutely great. And because another part of this and that we're going to dig into tonight is at DJ Expo a couple of weeks ago, we saw a lot of new lighting that was released, and there's some old favorites that were on display. And that's we're going to talk a little bit about what this problem is. And then right there it is. What the problem is, and then how to utilize some of the new lighting fixtures that are out there to kind of stop having one of the major problems we're about to talk about.
I put no thought into this.
I know, and you're demonstrating exactly what.
I'm riffing.
Yeah, this is so.
Well, hold on a second. Move this over a little bit. Okay, so yeah, hit by truck lighting. Basically, your dance floor is nice and washed from your perspective. You're standing behind the lights, and this is what your audience is seeing. This is uncomfortable. Now we can dim them down, of course, but it's just yeah. This isn't even cool. Even at its dimmest, it's not cool. Here's a white light.
Now, Brian, can you sit in your chair, but roll it back a couple of feet if you can, so that I want to actually see. I want to have you, so we're getting a silhouette of you, because this is one of the things that my big frustration.
Yeah.
So if you, there we go. That's all we need right there. If you, this is what your older guests are seeing at a wedding. When you've got that dance floor and you've got the lights basically at a level so that it's shining through, let's say, your bride and groom on a dance floor to your guests.
Okay, now let me show you something else real quick. Since we're here.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to take these lights. I'm going to shine them in the opposite direction. I'm going to turn them and set them down on the desk, okay?
So this would kind of simulate our typical DJ.
DJ's perspective. And I'll do both. Okay. So from our perspective, this is what we're seeing. And here, I'll put them on a little. We've got a nice wash, right?
Yeah, exactly. It illuminates.
And I'm even going to dim them a little bit, okay? So let's see, that's the dimmest I can make them.
Okay, and again, it's small space, so dimming like that would be appropriate.
Bring the house lights down just a hair so you can kind of see, right? Okay, so that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a nice wash. It's not too much. Here, I'll even turn this overhead light off here. So there's our wash, right?
Yep.
Nothing too crazy. Okay, now I'm not going to touch the remote. I'm just going to pick these lights up. I'm going to put it back in the location before. Even, at that dim setting, not at a bright setting, but a dim setting, that is what your audience sees. When you try to aim your lights out like that and do a wash. Now, we can turn them up a little bit. That's the most dim I can make them. If I go any dimmer, they go off.
They're off, yeah.
Okay. Now this is a 8-step dimmer on the 8-light stuff. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or maybe it's 6. Maybe it's 5. I don't know, but that's its brightest.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and it looks fantastic on the wall that you can't see because that's where the camera is.
Yep.
But you can see it looks like hell from where you're sitting, and it's uncomfortable. So I guess my thing has always been what you don't want to do.
Don't turn the lights on yet, Brian. Let's do a couple more things as long as you've got things set up.
Okay.
Yeah, go back to the room, darken, basically shut the lights off like you had it.
Okay, lights are off.
And
we're
then
in a dark room now.
Can you set those up as up lights now? So let's just give.
Okay, there's where you're going to see a difference. Now let's do this. All right. Now the key here, and the point I try to get across, and I'm sorry if I don't sound great on this.
No, you're fine. You sound pretty good.
Anyway, the point that I try to make on this, and this is at the lowest setting, by the way, okay? Wait, okay. That's the lowest setting I can get.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
Now, the point here that I try to make whenever I do this demonstration is just to explain to people that no matter what it is, whether it be audio or whether it be lighting, what we don't want to do is cause our audience any discomfort or pain. So if our sound system sounds like hell, they're putting their fingers in their ears and it hurts.
Yes.
Same thing with your lights. You can cause pain with your lighting. Now, I'm not touching the remote control. I'm just going to come over here. And as John has suggested, let's just use them as an uplight. There we go. And they are at their most dim setting that I can get them at. So there we are as an uplight. It's dim. And that looks pretty good, right?
Yep. Yep. It's not.
Now let's go ahead and bring them up. Let's bring the brightness up. That's just 3 notches up. There's 4 notches up. There's 5. That's as bright as they go. So here what we have is something that the audience can see, and I can even make it go a little faster here on the fade. So the audience can see it. It's entertaining. It's not causing anyone any pain. It looks cool, right?
Yep.
So that's why I do what I do at my events. And I don't shine light straight out at anyone. But I got to make a confession on this, John.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'll turn my light back on here.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is something that I don't know if I've said in a video or not. But the truth is, I was guilty of the hit by truck lighting.
Oh, yeah. I think we all have been.
It wasn't like something that I've always known. It was something that I just kind of discovered one day. When I set my lights up, they looked pretty good. No one was complaining or anything, but I thought to myself, it looks great from my perspective. I'd like to see what the crowd's experiencing. So I walked out and I'm like, oh my God.
Yes.
This is bad. So that's kind of where that came from. And it's the kind of stuff that I like to try to share on the channel.
Yes. Yep.
It's a matter of not causing any discomfort. So lighting like that, washing like that, you may say to yourself, well, the audience, I mean, they're not really getting a wash on them. They do. It bleeds out. But it doesn't matter if they get a wash on them or not. They're supposed to kind of be in darkness. What matters is there's interesting things going on around the dance floor.
You're right.
That's just my lighting philosophy. I don't think that there's necessarily a right or wrong way to do things, but I think the way that I'm doing them seems to work well. It seems to be it's easy to set up, it's effective, and it's not causing any pain. So
I think, and that's a huge part of this is that as we get older, our eyes don't adjust as quickly as they did when we were younger, and we're going to, if the room is dim, and then all of a sudden we have these bright beaming lights in our eyes, or like that, that's just annoying as all get out.
Oh yeah,
no question.
It's painful. It's there's no other way to put it. It's just an unpleasant experience for your audience. But it could look great from your perspective as the DJ. Like, wow, I'm watching everyone, they look great. If you've ever been to an old school concert, and I haven't been to a concert in a long time, but I used to like to go to concerts,
mm-hmm.
and they used to do this thing called audience blinding. Do you remember that?
Yeah, well, the big blinders, yes, the big 6 by.
They would have these like aircraft landing lights. They're like usually white,
mm-hmm.
and they would face the audience. There'd be like a wall of them on each side of the stage. And there was some point of the show when there was like a bump bump or something in the drums, and these blinders would just go, and it would just blind you. And it was an effect that, some techs used and some acts used, and it was pretty interesting. But you wouldn't want that all night. You definitely wouldn't want it for your older guests. Maybe your younger guests might think, oh, well, that's kind of interesting for a second, but no. That's not the effect you're looking. If you're looking for a blinder effect, you've succeeded. But if you're not looking for a blinder effect, that's what's actually happening.
So I want to take you guys back a little bit when Brian had set those 2 lights up as uplights, and we weren't getting any light in our eyes and wasn't blinding us. But one little aspect of that can make it just a little bit better. Now, Brian's got kind of some front lighting going on with him right now. And that's kind of something to keep in mind, is that from our perspective as a DJ, if we have those floodlights, I know somebody, William, I think we just mentioned bouncing them off the ceiling. And we can do some things like that. And from our perspective, we can see the audience, we can see the people on the dance floor, and it looks great. Keep in mind that you need to walk around and look and see, how do people look on the dance floor? Is it basically a silhouette where grandma and aunt and uncle and such can't see? All they see is shadows because they're looking at a light source, and it's basically light source, dancers, and them. Yeah. Whereas if Brian would have, he's got the 2 lights in the back, and if he'd have 2 of those just on either side of the dance floor type of a situation, that would give just a little bit of glow on that side of the dancers. All of a sudden, now the audience can see what's going on the dance floor. They can,
it's kind of a U-shaped thing is ideal.
Yes.
If you can do it, not every venue is going to allow for it. I mean, you got to walk into these venues and kind of look around and see what can be done. I mean, down here, and I'll just do this. Nothing's going to reflect off of these ceilings because they're 100 and
it's
15-year-old beams. I mean, they're just old brown beams. Look, there's nothing that's going to reflect off of that.
Not so much.
So it's not like I've got a nice white ceiling down here. But if you go into a venue that does indeed have a white ceiling, you got something to work with at that point. Also, sometimes you're in a situation where the dance floor is rectangular like this.
Yep.
And the DJ ends up right here. And when that happens, sometimes the dance floor is kind of in the middle here, and there's all this room on either side with chairs and things. I mean, in that case, it's really hard to light up the sides of the room. You can, but it may not reflect onto the dance floor very well. However, if you're in a room where it's like this, and you happen to be here, and your dance floor is here, that's ideal for that type of lighting I'm talking about. You can put it behind you, and you can run it down this way as well. And even if the side walls, I guess you want to call them, are quite far from the dance floor, and I hate to be that guy, but if you've got battery powered RF stuff like this, it's very easy to set that up where you can get light over there. You don't have to run the cables, look for outlets. You don't have to worry about the control of it all, because it's all right here on like a 100-foot radius remote.
And that helps tremendously to be able to have that quick and easy second light source, because there's times where you're at a show and you're like, I could really use a light over there to just reflect or to shine back. Sometimes it's just because I want people to be able to see me, and I didn't realize how dark the venue was going to be until they turned the lights down, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, babe! First off, I can't see anything besides from the shine of my laptop. Basically, it's like, okay, that's interesting. And now I'm wanting the guests. I'm going to try to get the guests' attention, and I am now behind this lighting with nothing, and
people talk about different effects, moving heads and lasers and scanners and different things. I really have for quite a few years, especially since I got really involved with videos and got a lot of product in. I think you get the most bang for your buck when it comes to lighting with LED PARs. It doesn't matter if they're tri-LED, quad LED, individual diodes, don't care. Bang for your buck is always with your PARs. I think you can do some really interesting things with them and create some great washes. We are in an industry where we can't really use a lot of atmosphere.
Sure.
Or any at all. So, because we're going to set off the smoke alarms, and that has to do with infrared beams being interrupted. It could be glitter. It could be anything in the air that sets those off. It has nothing to do with, I've got bad fog or I've got bad haze. I want a haze or a fog that doesn't set off fire alarms. It doesn't exist. Anytime you put particles in the air, they can set off those modern smoke alarms.
And it's going to do it.
Not only that, but there's always the perception of, I can't breathe. Even if it's perfectly fine, water-based, whatever, there's somebody who's going to see smoke and just lose their marbles.
Yeah, they kind of freak out. Yep.
And you just don't want to be responsible for that. So we can't use atmosphere. Therefore, we can't always use all of these cool aerial effects. So we got to think of really clever ways to use wash effects and projection effects. And the PARs are perfect for that.
Yeah, that they are. You mentioned, of course, the beam moving head fixtures. We both have used those in a lot of applications. And I guess if a person were going to utilize those, I mean, they scan the whole room and they go everywhere. So it's not like we can keep them completely out of people's eyes. Do you think that those have the same painful effect when they're hitting the audience, where a person should try to find, scenes and such that aren't, or does it just not matter as much in your opinion because they move so quickly?
It's more of a quick move. I don't think it matters as much, but I think you're better off if you can get anything like that above people's heads. And the reason being is, I mean, moving heads, I do believe, can still serve a purpose with that atmosphere because A, their projection effects, they're putting gobos all over the place. And B, it's still movement of light. And although you can't see it going through the air, you can see shadows and things, and it's pretty interesting. I like them in that regard. Sometimes I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze on them, but to coin a phrase Howie said,
yes,
or the squeeze worth the juice, or juice worth the, I don't know, something about squeezing, and there's juice involved, and is it worth it to squeeze the juice? But anyway, they are pretty cool sometimes. And you can do gobos, and you can do shapes and colors, and have this kind of cool shadows and light spots, and have that, I guess, movement that and they're pretty interesting to look at, I guess, too, to see the moving head themselves. It's kind of nice. But I think you get more bang for your buck out of the pars. As far as them hitting people in the face, it's going to happen here and there, but I don't think it's that big of a deal unless you're spotlighting someone's face and shining it on them, then you get the same effect those have. But if it's a quick thing, I think it's less of an issue.
So we were just at DJ Expo, of course, a couple of weeks ago, and let's talk about a couple of lights. And again, this isn't something we talked about in advance. A couple of lights for people who are like, hey, I like that idea. I've been using floodlights, literally floodlights, the par, and they're like, okay, I want to up my lighting game to something that's going to be more guest friendly.
Sure.
What's a couple of things that you saw at DJ Expo that people that should be checking out for something like that?
Well, if you're looking for something that's got a wow factor, if you want to do the production stuff, you can look at the video panels. That you can do. There's some really interesting stuff people are doing with video panels. So it's kind of the same principle where you're kind of watching the wall opposed to watching the people. It's like a television screen.
Sure. Yep.
You can have them, vertical or horizontal, or you can have them big squares or rectangles or whatever you want to do, depending on how many panels you add. It's kind of a pain in the ass because you've typically got to get some kind of interface to a video program or something to create images on these panels. I saw Chauvet had the centerpiece lighting where you put like a vase or something on this flat par that's IP rated. I'm assuming IP65.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was exactly.
Yeah, you can do that with a lot of things though. I just did a video the other day where I was doing it with an Ape Mini. And I did the math on it. It actually comes in at less than the Chauvet thing does. That isn't. You can use the Mini as an uplight too. You don't have to just use it as the centerpiece light. And the Ape actually comes in at less, and it's dual purpose. But that's kind of an interesting thing. You can do centerpiece lighting. The coins are out. You can do a lot of weird things with those. I haven't even come up with half of the things I know I'm going to be doing with them. Right. It's just a matter of getting my creative brain running, and I've been a little preoccupied lately with other things, so forgive me. I'll get those. Look, creativity happens when it happens, and I've just got other things going on right now.
It's been that kind of week, yeah.
It's been that kind of a summer, but yeah, I don't know, John. I think I'm pretty happy with my light show right now.
Right.
I'm happy with running things in music mode, and I'm not sitting around thinking about doing something new. What are you thinking?
Well, the Owen had with the Ape Labs lights, he had many different options for illuminating those walls. And that wireless technology was huge, I think, because yes, Howie says DMX is simple, and Howie loves his DMX, but a lot of people just haven't made the jump and don't want to jump into that yet for whatever reason. So the Ape Labs things, they had some. Chauvet, of course, had with their Easy Link series of lights. They've got some different things.
Yeah, they got the Bluetooth.
The Bluetooth things, yes, that we talked a little bit about those. And even getting into moving head fixtures, ADJ, that Pocket Pro, they were still showing that one. And that light, when I first got it and I looked at it, it's like, okay, I thought it was okay. And then as I spent more time with the Pocket Pro, I started to really find out that there's some functionality and such that I the more I've used it, the more I've liked the light.
It's a nice light.
Yeah, for a small
Pocket Pro's nice.
Yeah, for a small spot that has some different functionality, it's a great little light and can be up on its own.
On that light that's why they call it a Pro, because it moves like a light that's $3,000.
Yeah,
the I guess servos in that thing are real smooth, and the startup's quick. It's not like the old school lights where you turn it on and you got to wait a day and a half for something to happen. Just, and all kinds of click, 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 click. You've heard that stuff.
I remember that. Yeah.
Like this like calibrates very quickly. And like I say, the little, not macros, but servos. The servos are really good on that piece. Really smooth movement, slow, fast, whatever. And you can do interchangeable gobos on that. And I think it's like a 12.5 watt.
Yeah, it's a bright little light. I've got I picked up 4 of them, and I've been using those with our 2 prom shows. One prom uses the a Chauvet Intimidator light as its main one, and the other uses the Pocket Pros as the main. And they both have functionality that the other doesn't, and they both can do different things.
Got a couple comments here. I just wanted to look at. Day Night DJs was saying that he saw Metallica live, and 90% of their light show was actually an LED wall behind them. I've seen that too.
Yeah.
First time I ever saw a show like that, I think it was Yaz in Chicago. And I'd never seen anything like that before. It was pretty cool, but most of the light show was the video wall. It wasn't blinding, but it was washing,
Sure.
It was really cool. Brian Kay was talking about his light show that he has. And he, I know what Brian has. He has washes, wash lights and pars and movers. He said he did it in a tent, and it was 1,000 times more interesting in a tent. I think the reason that Brian's making this observation is because a tent's typically white, and not only that, but it's not like a flat ceiling. There's curves to it, and bows and hills and valleys and things. So your light's bouncing off new places, and it's making your light show probably more interesting when you reflect those fixtures, those beams off of that white canvas.
That they do. Yeah.
Oh, Howie's saying the Pocket Pros are 25 watts.
Yeah, Rick's mentioning the Wash FX 2 from Chauvet, which is a very, very cool light. Once again, Jeremy Breck was featuring that as one of the lights when he did his lighting demonstration, and the ability for it to just wash a very large area. It's a very impressive light, multi-beam LED diodes in a device that are kind of in a curvature shape. Definitely a great light. The biggest downfall, if there would be is that you have to DMX it. Which, if you're using an iPad and you have the DMX bridge from ADJ or Chauvet has any number of things for DMXing, it's not that difficult. You just go and buy Howie a couple of cups of coffee and say, "Gosh, wouldn't it be great?" And he'll be so wound up, he'll probably program your whole light show for you. Let's see, 2 shots of espresso. But yeah, for our proms and such, we are running those full DMX. With the programming, so we can control them in ways we want to. But for my weddings where I'm just doing small, just a couple of uplights just to have a glow over that dance floor area for that purpose, I've been using most of the Bluetooth things just because it's like, bloop, bloop, okay, I'm good, let's go.
Yeah, easy is good. Easy is very good.
Yeah.
It's not a cheap date always. It's not as bad as you think it is when you do the math on things, but easy is good.
Yeah, that it is.
And yeah, my my guests and clients have enjoyed the light shows I've been putting on with the simplicity I've been using. And nobody's complained. It's added to the experience, and it's less than half the work, less than half easily. So I'm happy with what I'm using.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you, John.
Yes.
Have you been paying attention to the chicken sandwich wars?
I have not. So this would be the point in the show where we're now segueing away from our main
Trying
topic.
to help.
So
Trying to help here.
Well, no, I was going to wrap that segment, that part of our show.
Go ahead. Okay, I'll hold my chicken
So we'll come back to the chicken sandwich thing. So for those of you who are wanting us to stay on topic, and because you wanted, that is the end of that segment of our show, and we're going to continue on. For those of you who want to hang out with us, now this is going to be more of a general chat, as you just heard. We're going to be getting into that, but before we do that, I want to put this little spot up here for you. We'll be right back. So once again, that is DJNTV going to Las Vegas in 2020. We'll be there February 24th through the 27th at the South Point Casino as a co-located show with Photo Booth Expo. Brian and I will be there. What we're going to be doing, we really don't quite know yet for sure, because that's going to be announced after Labor Day. And
plan on being there.
Plan on being there. It's going to be, we will make it, even if it's just Brian and I having shakes with you, we will make it well worth your time to be there.
Yeah, come on down and join us.
But it will be much, much better than, although the shakes are really good. It's tough to say that we can be better than those shakes.
Pete, the hubcap dude, knows what I'm talking about, the chicken sandwich wars,
yeah,
by the way.
So
and I'll make this short. It's just
it's okay. We're off the clock now, so now we can go on. So we've got this is for, again, if this is your first time, and I know some of you, there's a few names in here I've never seen before. So thank you first off for being with us on one of the channels. We got a lot of folks watching. This is the time where we start to go off on tangents and we go different directions. So if you were wanting to stay on just DJ specific things,
well, we're gonna. I mean,
we'll hit something there. We
won't linger long on things non-DJ specific.
But yeah, this is so yeah. So I have not been. I've seen memes. I've seen a few things mentioned, but I've not been following that. I've been spending more time.
It's just interesting.
I've been spending more time following the whole economy and the potential recession and reading different things
about that. It's all about chicken sandwich wars, John.
I realize that the important. I'm sorry. I don't pay attention to the important things. I waste time on these things like trying to get your business ready to handle a recession. So tell me, bring me up to speed on what the chicken
sandwich wars. Well, okay, so Popeye's chicken, right?
Yeah.
Announces that they've got a new chicken sandwich coming out, and then Chick-fil-A goes on Twitter and disses them. And so those two start fighting. And then Wendy's gets involved and is like, both of you have dry chicken. Oh, we have the best chicken. And then on Sunday, Popeyes finally releases their chicken sandwich, and there's 2-hour lines for it, and they're running out of stock. And it's like this big thing. And then the founder of Chick-fil-A goes to Popeyes and gives all the Popeyes employees Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches. It's ridiculous, dude. It's absolutely ridiculous what's going on with the chicken sandwich wars. It's a thing. And I was just curious if you heard about it.
This past weekend, this was going on.
Yeah, this is happening right now.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Right now, it's happening.
And the Wendy's would be probably the one that's the most interesting, because on Twitter, the Wendy's Twitter handle is whoever's handling that for them is absolutely fabulous. And that person should be writing for any number of comedians, because they're witty, they're sharp, and they just do a fabulous job with that.
They just jumped in the fight.
Oh, so, why would they crazy. Not? I mean,
it's interesting.
They're going to get in there and they're going to they'll make hay off this one.
So I'm gonna segue out of this and go into something else. I had a visitor last week come to Milwaukee.
Oh, I did not hear about this. Please,
did not. Our friend who's in the chat right now, Dave Clevenger, came and said hello.
Oh, cool.
So Dave got to come down and see the dungeon. He didn't have a lot of time, but he came to town, and I was trying to think of what I could do with Dave, and I only had about an hour or so. So we went to Crafty Cow, and we had the deep fried cheese curds. And Dave will tell you that they were on point. So anybody whoever doubts us, about the cheese. Dave knows the deep fried cheese curds at Crafty Cow are second to none.
It was great.
Yeah, I was telling you, it was great. Yeah. So that's all I got to say there, John. Go ahead and talk about whatever you want to talk about.
So yeah, that's kind of cool, Dave. Dave, what brought Dave? Was he in town for business then, or?
No, it's I think his niece was getting married near Madison.
Oh,
and
so he's rolling through.
He just took a day to come and say hi, or afternoon rather. He just came for lunch. It was really cool. He showed up around 11 o'clock, and he was out by 1. So, he could have stayed longer. I didn't kick him out. He just had to go. He had to pick his kid up. But yeah, he was just in town. Thought he'd come and say hi. And, yeah, anytime anybody is ever anywhere near me wants to come say hi, reach out. Let's do it.
Yeah. We've had that happen a couple of times out here in the sticks where our office is. For those of you who aren't familiar, Minneapolis, St. Paul, we're 2 hours. Basically, if you've got on your map, you've got Minneapolis, St. Paul, and then you go way up here to Fargo, and we're kind of like right in the middle of that long line.
Are you?
Yeah, it's pretty close. We're about 15 minutes from being the true center point.
Wow, so, I didn't know that.
So we've had people that are like, hey, we're in the area. The one who came from the far, well, when Scott Eichler, one of my friends from New Zealand, and he came up, he obviously wins for being the farthest away. But we had some friends from Florida, DJs from Florida who were coming through, and they're like, hey, John, we're going to be through your area. You mind if we swing over and just say hi? Yeah, come on over. So they came up and spent about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And they came through during the meal time, because it's like, hey, if you guys can be here, I want to take you. We've got this little bar, not quite as cool as ones Brian has in his hipster neighborhood, but we
talked about the straw shaming. Yeah.
It's pretty good. Yes, up here we can use straws. We aren't we are killing the dolphins, but we just, I guess, don't care up here. So we went up and got a burger and chatted for a little bit and sent them on their way. And yeah, it's kind of cool when a person can do that and you're reaching out. That's one of the reasons we really like going to things like DJ Expo and such, or we're like in November when we're going to be headed out to Allentown with the DJ meetup. These are times where we get to see people face to face, shake hands,
right.
And say, wow, you're so much taller than I thought you were.
Yeah, no, everybody is always welcome to come. Of course, the first thing though, let's see the Mustang. It's not here at my house. It's at the shop, my dad's shop, which is like attached to my mother's home. So that's where the car is right now, and it's not done yet. And by the time I get it done this year, it'll probably be the end of the season. So next year, we'll go for some rides.
Yeah,
I'm going to get some time in yet this year. We're almost got it wrapped up. We'll probably get most of it wrapped up this week, but I haven't taken it much further than like around the block this year.
But it's looking really, really good. It's coming along very well.
It's. I tell you what, man, it's a mean car. That is a mean car.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was going to be that mean. It's a cool car. You can drive it, like conservatively, and you'd be all right. But if you got a heavy foot, hold on. That thing will get up and boogie. It's pretty cool.
Let's see. I want to hit a couple of things in the chat room here. Rob A asked about the connection on the ADJ Airstream, the Airstream bridge. It's connected with the iPad, and typically what happens is that if you're in a venue that has other things, because there's 11 channels that a person can use, and when you're in the app and you're connected to it, you can actually go into the ADJ app and change the channels. My recommendation is to move it down to 9, 10, or 11. Typically, it starts out in 1, 2, or 3. And that's where every time a person starts a router or puts a router into a system, that they just start numbering them there. And it becomes this thing where you're in a building and you have interference. So if you could do it where you could actually go and scan when you're in this particular area or that building and see where the open channels are, that would be best. Typically, that's not doesn't happen because in order to be able to do that and such, you have to be connected, and unless you've got an app that does that, which I do have that. So my suggestion would be when you get it home and you can connect and you're not having problems, change the channel on the transmitter.
Let's put on like 9 or something.
Yeah, go much higher, and you're going to have. I wouldn't do 11, 9 or 10, because then you have sometimes where people jump to 11. Yeah. They're like
9, 8, 7, some or whatever. Just pick a duck.
But that's generally why you're losing connection with that Airstream. is because of that capability.
Now, as these get more popular, this ape stuff gets more popular. It's very possible that you could be in a Sheraton somewhere where there's a DJ in the hall next to you that also has this remote or the W app or something, and they're controlling your lights. So, but the real easy way around that is, I need to do a video on this. You can pair this remote to your lights. So only this remote can work with your lights.
Oh.
And there's like 32,000 different pairing combinations. So the chances that your lights are going to be paired to the guy's lights next to you are slim to none.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, now, it's kind of, I'm on like an open channel with this. I can control pretty much anything ape out of the box. And I have so many different lights, but I can indeed pair all of my lights to one of 32,000 unique channels where my lights will only respond to this remote control.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
That is very cool. I did not know that.
So 32,000 beats 11.
Yeah, very much so.
So
let me just do the math there. 31,900. Oh.
Now you can also, for instance, if you had one set of lights that you wanted to control with one remote and one set of lights you want to control with another remote, you could do that kind of pairing, or you can just simply select groups too. You can do that right on the remote, 1 of 4. But, you could really do as many as you want if you're pairing. Owen was doing that at Expo with different sets of lights, just simply because, he didn't want the interference. And he didn't want some, funny guy coming in with his own remote going, because that could happen too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So you have everything paired and grouped. But that's something you can do.
Rob, the app that we used to scan, my son actually has it, and I apologize, I don't have it. It was a Wi-Fi scan tool, and I believe it was like $15. So I would have to go and look, and it might be some. I know when you're hooked up to the Airstream DMX, it has it built into that. So if you get to the venue and you can hook up to it the first time, and you could go and actually literally check and see what kind of traffic it's detecting out there. And that would be the time I would change it. If I'd see it and it's like, oh my gosh, everything's at the bottom, then I'd move it up to the middle or towards the top. But if you can't get any connection, that's when you'd have a problem. And I have one school where I had that issue, and I started out and it was fine, and then it just all of a sudden lost everything, and I didn't check. So I took it out to the parking lot, plugged it into I had an inverter in the Dodge. So I was far enough away from the Wi-Fi, and I could go through, and then I dropped it down to the other end of the spectrum. So
I'm reading the chat. I'm just getting a kick out of this. Howie says that sounds harder than DMX. Howie's kind of getting up there. He's these damn kids today using a rotary telephone.
Yeah,
was no problem when I was a kid. This is push button stuff. Jay says 32,000 sounds like black magic. And to Jay, I say this. I saw a door with a rocker panel problem when I saw your picture. I did not see a beach. So I guess I'm not ready for a vacation yet. and then let's see. There was another one that I saw. Oh, Bill Hunt was asking if anyone uses Rekordbox DJ lighting. Yes, Bill, someone does use Rekordbox DJ lighting. Jay Brennan is in the chat right now. He uses it. And I've seen demonstrations of Rekordbox lighting. Jay is not a DMX guy like Howie is. But he put together a pretty impressive show with Rekordbox.
Yeah.
And I was amazed at the show he put together. This was a couple of years ago. It's really a neat piece. If you're using Rekordbox and you want to take the time to do some custom shows, it's a neat piece. So,
okay, our time's starting to wind down. We've got more things we've got to hit before we wrap up.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I'm just reacting here.
This
Be sure
weekend,
to like and comment and all that stuff on our video here, please.
This weekend, you are the father of the bride.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about it again a little bit next week. What has changing from the DJ who's working with these people, now you're on the other side with the whole process. Is there one thing that has you've experienced that is going to give you a higher level of empathy going forward when you're planning weddings and working?
Yeah,
with
probably one particular thing. And that is, well, I've never really been married. I've seen my siblings do it, and it was all a very long time ago. And I remember with my sisters, my brother-in-law would come to my father and say, "Hey, can I marry your daughter?" And they'd have a conversation about it. It's kind of a thing you do.
Yeah.
There's none of that anymore. So I used to look at the dad at these events like he was like somebody really important, and he was a shot caller. He's totally not. This guy has no idea what's going on. Nobody asked him boo F you nothing. It just happened, and he goes where he's told to go. So I used to really hold this guy in this high reverence, thinking he really knew what was going on. Now I know he doesn't know anything, and I'll have empathy for that in the future. So there's that.
That's interesting, and I think probably as a younger person, I certainly felt the same way with the father, either father. And as a person spending more time, and you're getting to be the age of these people, you're starting to realize that they're either faking it, that they know what's going on, or they really just have absolutely no idea, and they're just there in some cases with the checkbook. And here
I look at pictures of my dad when he was my age, and I'm like, dude, I don't know if it was cosplay or what, but I looked at you like a grown man. I look at myself like an 18-year-old idiot. I mean, I don't know. Maybe my kid looks at me like an old guy. She probably does, but it's yeah. The dad has no idea what's going on. The mom probably does. And, I was asked to not get involved with this too much. And I was asked to handle the DJ part, not to DJ her wedding, but to take care of that part.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got Wavy Davy coming in for it.
Nice.
That's, the easy one. Mm-hmm. And it works out great because we made a deal about 25 years ago where I was going to DJ his wedding for free and then he'd DJ my wedding for free. Well, seeing how I never got married, I got a wedding coming. So it worked out great. I'm cashing it in. Right? Because I did his.
You've got 25 years of interest on this. Is that it?
Yeah. I did his. So it's, and him and his wife, Marcia, are going to come and do Stevie's because I'm never going to cash those chips in.
So does she make any of the announcements?
Marcia?
Yeah.
Yeah, she does. In fact, when they do the voice drops, Wavy does those.
Yeah.
She does the female voice on that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's why I was asking, is because she's got that kind of sultry voice that.
Yeah, he talked her into it. She totally didn't want to do it, but he talked her into it. And what's funny is when they, in the early days when they were doing those, Wavy would do his voice, then she'd do hers, and they picked up on her Wisconsin accent, even though she was trying to hide it.
Mm-hmm.
But the girl sounds like she's from that movie Fargo. I mean, we're talking about people from down south or whatever, They heard it. So I think she's really been working on that, trying to sound more, I guess, is it West Coast? Or Coast?
Probably coastal.
If you talk to a normal, not the guys from Brooklyn, forget about it now, and not the guys from the valley, oh, awesome, man. But if you talk to normal people from the coast, they sound kind of alike. They have this generic accent. There's nothing really distinctive about it. It's like the Hollywood accent.
Certainly, yes.
And I think Marcia's trying to work on that and get a little bit of Wisconsin out of her voice for some of these drops. But yeah, she does them. Yeah, Jimmy gets drops from them.
Yeah, a lot of our viewers.
Marcia's on there.
When Wavy was on with us that night, I think quite a few people jumped on getting.
Do you know who has the golden voice? And there are, for a female voice, there are voices that I hear, and most female voices that I hear, I don't know if I could listen to them for a long time.
Sure.
They haven't done anything wrong to me, but just the pitch.
Yeah. And
the tone is just kind of like, who's got the best voice, but would never, ever, ever do any voice work?
Who's that?
Blanca's got the best voice. she's got the most beautiful voice and the most beautiful Latina accent, but she'll never do anything like that. If I could talk her into doing voice stuff, we'd make a fortune. She's really good. And she has a soothing, soft voice.
Yeah, she does.
But there's something. You know what she sounds like. Most people don't, because she's kind of.
Yeah, she's a very private person, and
right. Yeah, but she's got the best voice. I know we were in New York one time, and she was getting her hair done. We were in Spanish Harlem, and she was talking to the girl doing her hair, and it's like, wow, where is that accent from? It's like, Puerto Rican, it's like, that don't sound Puerto Rican to me. I don't know where that accent. It's a beautiful dialect of Spanish you're speaking. But yeah, she's got the best voice for that stuff. She'll never do it. Marcia does a great job though. Marcia does characters. I wouldn't expect Blanca to ever do characters. I would expect Blanca to just be Blanca. Kind of like Jack Nicholson. He's always Jack Nicholson in every movie you see. He's never like another guy. It's like Jack Nicholson or Samuel L. Jackson is always Samuel L. Jackson in every movie.
Yep.
And Keanu Reeves is like that, with the exception of Bill and Ted. It's kind of like how Blanca would be as a person who does voice work, but she'd make a fortune doing it. I don't know. We're way off track there.
And I was going to say the chat room's just headed down rabbit holes. Let's jump up.
Blanca or Blanca, same thing. Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, he was a typo on the first one.
Trying to cook her food and he's totally destroying it too. You can't do Blanca cooking. Stevie's trying right now, and I don't know how she's doing with it. But.
Let's see. Was there anything else I wanted to hit?
Well, the one thing I will say about the wedding too, since we were talking about it, and that's where the whole wavy thing came from, is although. Well, I haven't had much involvement in it, and everything's been so not traditional. I've just kind of hung it up and said, okay, well, this is going to be nothing like I even kind of thought it might be, so I'm not going to worry about any traditional anything, right? So last week, just to give you an example, all of a sudden we're panicking because we can't figure out where everything's going to go and how things are going to work. So I stepped in and did the DJ thing. I put a timeline together for the day.
Sure.
That's what we do, And her mom was like, well, why is he getting involved with it? And it's like, hey, hold on a minute. If you don't like my timeline, do your own. I'm trying to help. But, I mean, I do this for a living. Mm-hmm. And I'm still not sure why nobody asked me about anything before they started planning this. It's like they're keeping me out of it, and I'm the one who actually kind of knows people and vendors, whatever. But as I'm doing the timeline, we're adding things and putting things in there. And Stevie says, well, are you going to do a toast? And I'm like, oh, they still do that, huh? I mean, I know damn well they do it because they're doing it at the weddings that I do, but I'm assuming I'm not doing it. And then she says, no, we want you to do something. Okay, I guess I'm doing something. So I've been kind of thinking about that this week while I'm in the tub driving in the car. I told Blanca, if you hear me talking to myself this week, I'm just working out material. I'm not losing my mind. So I'm trying to put something together for that. But what I did tell Stevie, she said, when do you want to go? I'm like, well, I said, I don't mean to be that guy, but I should probably go last because I don't think anybody's going to want to follow me. I think when it comes to public speaking, I've probably got everybody trumped a little bit. So it'd probably be best if I went last. Not that I'm planning on doing an amazing speech or anything, but.
So in the chat room, I want you guys to go and right now put how long you think Brian's his father's speech or father's toast is going to go.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because I've been editing this. I mean, I come up with things. Well, John knows. I mean, writing, for the paper. You write an article, you get your ideas down, and then you go and you edit yourself. And that's exactly what I've been doing. And once I get everything wrapped the way I like it, then I'll start timing myself and see how long it is. And if it's too long, then I'll have to do more edits, I guess. But I don't think it's possible to be too short.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would. It could be.
Wow.
It could be. I think
Yeah.
there's some things that as a
Ooh,
parent.
15 minutes? Are you out of your mind? 18 minutes? Jesus. 5 minutes, I feel like would even be long, man. If I can go 3-4 minutes, I think it'd be good. If I can keep it under 5.
But I think as a parent, there's some things that we need to verbalize, and verbalizing it in public in this situation, I think is important to
Well,
the day.
there's, the other thing too that I have to consider is it's not like I married her mother, who was the love of my life, and we had a family, and we all lived happily ever after.
Mm-hmm.
This is not what happened. This is not my life. Okay. Her mother and I we split up when she was like 2. And we haven't been the best of friends for the last 18 years. And I got a lot of history in this room, It's not like I'm walking into a completely friendly environment, but my family's there. And my family's kind of gangster, I mean, they totally are, man. My family is gangster I'm. You ever met my brother? Holy crap!
I have not.
I mean,
No.
they're very territorial and very like, they're like a gang. Mess with us, you mess with him, you mess with all of us, kind of thing. So it's gonna be interesting. And then I have my people from here, my extended family there as well. And I've got a lot of history with a lot of people. And what I don't want to do is say anything that's going to make anybody uncomfortable. It's going to alienate anybody or anything like that. So, even the most sincere and well thought of things I've thought about saying, I thought about who was going to be there. And I thought, ooh, you know what? Considering that, this is probably inappropriate.
Yeah.
So what I have to do is make this very general audience. And when I say general audience, I mean, this is your life general audience. So it makes it a little harder to try to say anything too heavy. So I might have to just go light on it, I wanted to make this profound statement, I think, for a minute. And I kind of thought about it. I'm like, no, I can't do that. I mean, I'll just give you an example of the situation. What I really wanted to do was talk about the relationships between, a parent and a child, and how sometimes they're not always biologically your children, but they become kind of like your children. You're not trying to replace anybody's dad, but you're there if they need anything,
Sure.
And I was going to make this point. I thought it was a really nice point to make. What do you think?
It could be, and it's really
going to be
on how you set it up, because without setting things up, if a person jumps into it and hasn't built, kind of laid that foundation to getting to that point.
Oh, well, absolutely, you have to lay the foundation. I was working on that, and then it occurred to me. Okay, Stevie has a brother that I haven't spoken to in 18 years, who I raised from the time he was 2 to the time he was about 12. I can't have that. I can't say he's going to be there. So I can't. And why we don't talk is just kind of, that's fine. Why we don't, he'll no ill feelings, but I don't want to make him feel bad.
Yeah, you've got to really walk that line.
Because I kind of did the step parent thing with him, but then I didn't, because it didn't work out because of stuff. So I don't want to do that. So I got to switch it from that, and I got to do something a little different.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting next week to kind of have the recap of how things.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it'll be fine. But I mean, I'm really thinking. I mean, Scott Carroll said 2 to 3 minutes, or 2 to 5 minutes, and I think he's on it.
Yeah, I hope.
I'll say, or Joe says 7 to 14 seconds, or 7 minutes and 14 seconds.
Yeah, that's
like 7 to 14 seconds is more is funny.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna do an intro, and I'm gonna say some nice things, and I'm gonna try to add a little bit of humor, but I'm not gonna beg for it, and I'm just gonna go for it, and I'm gonna try to keep it. God, if I can keep it under 4, I'm gonna be happy. If I can keep it under 4, just because I have empathy for the audience. I've been the audience. I've been listening. Well, no, I mean, you have too. We've been listening to this crap for 30 years. These guys rattling on and on about nothing. So, I mean, even like I want an engaging 4 minutes, or an engaging 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Well, let's take Joe's suggestion about talking about the Beatles and making the theme of your All You Need Is Love, and then we'll combine that with Peter's suggestion to sing her a song. So I just have
sing.
This toast. I wanted to just this about taking you back to the Beatles, and
I have a feeling that I'm gonna go pursue. I'm gonna live precariously through this speech, and I've always kind of thought about maybe trying to do some stand up. And I think I might incorporate some of that into this. I'm going to try to get my first 5 minutes down in the form of the Father of the Bride speech. I mean, why not? I've done stranger things. Like when we baptized her, I decided it would be funny to get like a Mediterranean ethnic godfather as her godfather, like the movie The Godfather, So I asked my Greek friend to be the godfather of her, and he's like, well, of course. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a weird response, but okay, fine. And he does it, and come to find out that godfather in the Greek Orthodox religion and Italians with Catholicism is a little different than godfather and just everything else. They take that very seriously, and they only take one godchild, and it's like a really big deal in their culture.
Oh my.
Yeah, so Stevie's got like this Goomba godfather. It's kind of funny.
Watching out for him.
It's actually somebody, and the best part about it is she's marrying a Greek kid. And they know this guy.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, he's kind of, do I want to use the word notorious? I mean, but they know who he is. So they're kind of like, oh, don't mess with this kid. Her godfather is, nah. I've done funnier things, when it comes to these, things you're supposed to do with your kids and stuff, and turn my Father of the Bride speech into a 5-minute stand-up routine. I mean, why not?
Dave on Facebook mentioned that his when he did this, he went less than 5 minutes. Excuse me, but he was overwhelmed with the emotion and such, and he said it felt like 15 minutes. So
there's going to be no overwhelmed emotion.
He's sending his prayers.
I am so over this. I thought it would be this big thing where, I'm cool. I'm bulletproof, man. I mean, these kids live down the road from me. I've seen them cohabitate. I'm there. I'm helping them with stuff. I get it. I'm totally ready for this. You know how some people are like, oh, and Jay is a perfect example of this. My friend Jay Brennan in the chat room right now. Jay Brannon and his wife, okay, Michelle, are the people who say things like, oh, I can't believe it. They grew up so fast. I'm the guy who's saying, no, they only grow up fast if you're not like changing diapers. Okay. If you're the one changing the diapers and wiping the crap out of their butt, they don't grow up too fast. They can't grow up fast enough. I can't wait for this kid to wipe its own ass. And yeah, that was wonderful. So it's totally cool. Yeah. Oh, they grow. No, it seems like just yesterday. No, it doesn't. That was a long time ago. That was 21 years ago this kid was born. Oh, my God. It was the freaking 90s. People were walking around with George Clooney haircuts when she was born. Like the old George Clooney when he had a comb forward. Mm-hmm. That was a thing when she was born. We didn't have smartphones. Clinton was president. That was a long time ago, man.
And we didn't have Starbucks on every corner.
No, they were around though. Came out in 71. But no, not every corner. But no, I'm totally cool with this. This totally makes sense. She's a little young. I kind of want her to do more, but whatever. It's fine. It's totally fine. I'm not gonna get weird about it. That I can tell you. I can't see that I'll get weird about it. I'm not. I get it. I've accepted it. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Looking forward to our conversation next week. It should be fun with that.
His glasses.
Yeah, Jay's He's calling you just an old funny.
I miss Jay. We should be able to bring Jay in, like, you know, I don't know, halfway through the show and just put him on a third screen and just kick back and just let him do what he does.
You know, if Jay's got next Tuesday night, that could be because next week is going to be a little bit slower week because of the Labor Day. So Tuesday night we're just going to do just kind of a general hangout because our full or the fall schedule in essence starts the week after. So.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to wrap things up. We've gone for a little over an hour, and we've had a lot of folks in with us tonight. So thank you guys for being with and hanging out.
Thank
you. We will be back next week, next Tuesday night with our show, and we will catch you then. Good night, everybody.